Okay, welcome back. In this video, we're going to test out that passport stuff we've been setting up. I'll explain a little bit more of what's going on. So, we went through the app, we got the ID and the secret from Google, and we set it up so we can use the Google Plus API, which is how we're going to get information. When people come to our site, we're going to give them the option of using a username and password or signing in uh, with their Google account. And if they sign up with their Google account, it's one, easier, they don't have to type and remember a password. And two, we're going to get other information like their Google username. We'll get most likely a avatar picture. We'll get an email. Uh, we'll get some kind of Google ID, and it'll be verified that's them. It's just way easier than typing a username and password, although we'll offer that as well. Uh, Callback URL has to do with how it works. First, we have to send a message to Google from our server. They're going to send us something back, and then we're going to send something else um, back to them, and then they're going to hit us on the callback with that information. Basically, they need to know how to get back a hold of us, and this matches what's on the website. And then we've got this function here, which has an access token, a request, a refresh token, the profile, and then done. This is just how it has to be set up. The passport, we're going to do more. We're going to end up saving users or logging users in basically in this function eventually. Right now, we're just constantly logging the profile just for demonstration. And notice how we're exporting all of these. This is just a way I came up with. It looks a little bit different than how they have it on their website, although their way works perfectly fine. I just like to keep it out of the main server file and put it in its own isolated file. These scopes tend to work good for me. Basically, we're just getting the email address and the username. We're just getting basic information. We're not asking to do anything special with someone's Google account. There's various degrees of um, permissions. And I'm not even sure if we need just emails from. I can't remember. We're passing a simple callback here with it just gives it a little more information. A failure redirect. And we're not using sessions. We're not persisting sessions. We're not using any cookies. We're going to use JSON Web Tokens, which we're going to generate in this process on our own. We're not going to have to deserialize or serialize anything or create a separate data store for a cookie or anything like that. Lastly, the redirect, although we don't have a front end, is going to redirect back to the front end. So what's going to happen? The front end is going to call Google. Google is going to call the back end. Rather, the front end is going to call the back end. The back end is going to go call Google. Google is going to call the back end. We're going to call Google, and then Google's going to send it to the front end. Something like that. So, without further ado, I've imported passport and our 4 Google items. From /passport. And here we're going to say passport.use, Google auth, that's our overall strategy that we defined. Server.use passport.initialize, just initializes the whole passport rigmarole. And server.get auth/Google, so that's the link or the button is going to hit this endpoint and define the Google scope. That's what we're going to send. We're going to send that Google scope to Google. And then when we get the callback, the server's going to get it here. And that's where we execute the callback and the redirect. So we can test it out right now. We don't need a front end. Just npm run server. Server's up, and notice how now, since we put these models and everything in the context, we're now getting some of that logging information from Mongoose, just stating that the email and the username have to be unique. Now, just navigate to wherever you've got that server up. We happen to have ours at port 8081. And we said /auth/Google is the endpoint that activates this whole process. See what happens. That wasn't supposed to happen. Oh, I don't think I saved this. Okay. Let's see if it works now. That's better. Helps if you save things. Alright, so get rid of that. And it'll give you a prompt of all your accounts, and then it redirects back to a front end that we don't have. No big deal. We got the profile console logged, but it's not going to console log it into the browser. It's going to console log it into our terminal, because this is code running on our back end. So, let's see what we've got here. We've got an ID, we've got a display name, family name, emails. So we've got an array. Emails, just getting one here. Gender. We've got a photo. We've got a bunch of raw information. Then we've got it in a JSON format here as well, which is a lot of it's just the same information as up top. Basically, Passport kind of cherry picked this information for us. Looks like we've even got a cover photo in there. We've got the basics. We've got a username. We've got an email. We've got a photo. We've got a Google ID we can use to look them up in the future, because that's not going to change no matter what. Gender, if we want gender. And I think that's enough to get us started. That's enough to get a basic user with an icon and an email address. I mean, dang, that's pretty much the whole starter kit right there. And people, they'll be able to change those. We won't save it every time. We'll go by this Google ID here. That way someone can maybe later change their username, change their picture, give us a different email address, and so forth and so on. So one thing we will do is go to our user model. Go to Google ID here. Call it a string, even though maybe technically it's a number. Unique true. Save. All right, we're all set. We can start working on a function to save the user. See you next video.